Hey guys, welcome to week 8. Wow, time really flies. Yeah, so you're all getting up to the elephant quest now. I assume, you know, um, it is fun, and quest 9 hopefully will give you 2 weeks of fun. Um, so we should look forward to that. Anyway, we'll get so today's plan. Who was it? Who coded last? Was it Ian? Ian coded last, right? I think he shared the link, the most recent link. Is that right? Anyway, we'll wait for. Yeah, maybe he's late. Right, we'll wait for him to join. So the
I
idea is that.
have a question.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I was looking at the syllabus again. I was wondering, like, is completing all of the quests, is it a 190 trophy or 191?
It is 191. Okay.
Wait, on the syllabus it says 190, so I was so
Oh, it
confused.
does say 190 in the syllabus.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's 190. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I thought it said 191 in the syllabus, but
Wait,
I think it's possible to get 191. Okay,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
because I think if you look in the Reddit, as some lists that someone has published, okay, I think they got 191. So yeah, I forget. I don't know who's keeping track of these things, but it is fun. It is fun. Yeah, 190 is dog. And by the way, where's Leyu? Is Leyu here? Yeah. I saw the post saying, "Oh, I'm concerned because I was late one time. I'll never be a dog." No, actually, that's that's only if we just drive really hard by the rules. Um, if it's one or two excusable delays, that's perfectly fine. So I don't think that should get in the way of dogging. If you're on top of everything else. Hey, Zara, Francis, Lily, welcome. Yeah. Speech on cameras. If you have any questions for me, you should ask. The thing that I wanted to point out is that, what we're doing in class, if you've observed, is not really introducing the concepts, saying, well, this is what it is, and like a formal lecture saying, oh, I just learned it from me. This is the way it's done. So the idea is that in the action plan, in Canvas, and in the syllabus, I've picked out some topics that you are free to research and find out in the most convenient way to you, because there's so many learning resources suited to so many different kinds of people and we have the community learning in Reddit to top it all off. So there's all these avenues available. So the goal is to learn these things, and in our classes, I'm not going to be a feeder of information, which, because you can find better information than I can actually feed to you. The goal in our class is to get a group opportunity to practice what we've learned. So basically, we just go in and say, hey, we're going to make a class, make it private, public, and so on. But obviously, if you have questions during that time, hey, why do we put public there? Or why do we indent here? Or, or what does that mean? Right? Those are all fantastic questions, right? Even though you may have read about it in the text, or even had a Reddit discussion about these concepts before coming to class. You say, well, in class, you still have this lingering doubt, and that's a fantastic opportunity to bring it up and say, hey, can we talk about this? Why did we do that? So that's all great. Okay, so that really is the spirit of this class. This is the way the class generally goes most of the time. But I thought that this is what I've observed in the CS2A Zoom sections in all these quarters I've given offered this class. The students are naturally settling into a groove that seems to be this kind of learning. So I said, yeah, okay, well, you know what? Chosen by the majority of students, this is how we're going to play it from now on. And so I'm kind of formalizing that. to say the class, the live coding is an opportunity to practice what you've already learned. So we can, but if you do not understand a certain concept and we're using it in class, you can ask, obviously, right? And then we'll go into it in as much detail as anyone needs. And in fact, if necessary, the best thing to do is to do live coding, offer the live code and then, actually code that thing, right? And we will have so many opportunities to do those things, right? So that's what it is. Hey, Jin, or all of you guys, switch on your cameras. Is that Peter? You know what? There's so many Peters coming around now. So I don't know if this guy is a real Peter or not, but and they're all at different times. Okay, so he's looking around, but I don't know if it's all right. Anyway, you ask me any questions if you have. Otherwise, we'll start in like 3 minutes. Okay, 6:09, 6:10. The plan for me is to essentially get someone totally new to recreate what we had at the end of last class, which is a screen class and a point class, and then a for loop in main that basically just puts lots and lots of stars in successive locations, so it looks like a moving star. Okay, so that's all, and I'm thinking like 15 minutes to get there. And then the rest of today, I think we'll actually have a lot of fun. We'll take that to the next level and say, all right, we'll try and make a game out of it. Okay, first of all, try and see if we can make it a parabola, okay, instead of a straight line. And then say, well, no, it's not enough to be a parabola. Let me place a target and see if I can hit the target. All of those things now become possibilities in plain ASCII. That is so cool. And in fact, it'll be so fun because you can actually write a program and circulate it on the Linux forums as a command line Linux tool. Okay, run it and it actually gives you this opportunity to type in a horizontal and vertical velocity, and then it does the projectile and tells you whether you hit the target. That would be really cool. I can show you how to do that if you're interested. Okay, so that's our plan. 2 more minutes, I think. All right, so talk amongst yourself or ask me any questions if you want, and then we'll get started. Peter, he's a different guy. No, so why isn't everybody's silent? So you guys have well, this is supposed to be like a highly communal class. Okay, everybody's supposed to be talking to each other. There's no supposed to be and all. Okay, but that is the ideal thing that actually works wonders in a class. The whole class experience is very transformative if people just participate, as opposed to if they're just in their silos saying, well, I don't really care, I just want to learn these things and move on. Okay, so it's a different kind of feel. And so that is why I think, if everybody breaks the ice, it's a different plane of existence altogether, because, you're all collaborating and talking to each other, because it is like, the resonant pitch or something like that, when you actually just feel it clicking into place, is you say, it doesn't feel like an individual experience anymore. It actually feels like a group experience in which I'm an indispensable part. Okay, that's a very distinct feeling. Okay, as opposed to an individual achievement feeling. That's the individual achievement. Yeah, it's fun. As kids also, getting something done and getting kudos for it. Okay, that's one kind of a feeling, right? But later on, when you get to participate in a massive project, okay, and you get a sense for the group achievement, which is not a single achievement, but at the same time feel the indispensability of yours contribution, without which the group achievement may not have been possible. Okay, and you feel it, so you feel a different kind of, and you feel a resonance to it. Yeah, it sounds very mystical and metaphysical bullshit, but that's the kind of feeling I'm going for. What was I don't know what I was talking about. Okay, I think it is about time, right? 6:10. I'm ready to drive. Well, not drive in the sense I'm ready to stand by and watch you guys drive. And the idea is for you guys, one of you, and all right, I'm going to nominate 2 people. Okay. Actually, Mark, you haven't coded in a long time. You said last time too. Yes.
Sorry, talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Last time I think I had some issues sharing my screen.
All right. Are
Because
you good with
yeah.
sharing your screen today?
Yeah, just give me maybe like 5
No
minutes.
worries. Okay, take your time. All right. All right. And also I want to line up some other people. Hey, Richard, do you want to code today?
Yeah, sure.
All right, okay. So Mark, at some point you're going to hand over to Richard, okay? Now, here's the thing. Now I'm going to nominate one other person who is going to look at Ian's code. I don't know, can someone actually confirm this? Can someone go to Reddit and confirm if the code that was shared with that moving thing, the for loop, the last thing that you guys worked on, I think it was Ian, okay? And maybe he posted too, because I remember reading a post saying at the end of the day, although I didn't fully understand it, it was fun to see this bullet move through the screen or something like that. Okay, I think he said something along those lines. Can someone find
Yeah,
that?
class code for 523
Yeah.
by Ian. Yeah.
Who got it?
Do you want me to? Oh, I have it. Do you want me to share it in the
No,
meeting?
Jin, hang on to it. Okay, so I just wanted to
Okay.
Please share it again.
All right. So
Please share it
so
again.
here's what we're going to do. Mark is going to type, but he's not going to actually type actively. He's going to type whatever Jin is going to say, right? Actually, you know what, Jin, are you reasonably comfortable with that code? Because then I want to pick someone who's slightly uncomfortable with the code, okay? Meaning that they're basically going to read it out letter by letter, if it comes to it. Doesn't matter. Okay, they're going to read it token by token. That's okay. I want someone like that rather than someone who's, you know, reasonably comfortable. Jin, are you reasonably comfortable? Then you should basically excuse yourself unless we find
Yeah,
someone.
I'm reasonably comfortable with this code.
Okay, how about someone else? Okay, anyone who feels they need to brush up, you know, practice here is, you know, we're going to code up this program which has 2 classes. And even if you don't know what classes are, it actually helps tremendously just to type in blind mode, whatever Jin is going to call out. Okay, you're going to, oh, Mark, yeah, no, you're going to call out the code, right? You're going to call out the code, wait for Mark to type it, call out the next token, and so on and so forth. You basically, essentially, you want to feel a rhythm to that, all right? Essentially saying, well, you know, curly brace, and when you say curly brace, automatically your mind is filled in the other side, and it's thinking of what's going inside. Yes, all right. So, and you know, there's no reason why one kind of skill has to follow another. I think because in students I've seen, some learn concepts first and then the rhythm later. Some learn rhythm first and then the concepts later, but in the end, they all come out learning everything, right? So I don't think there's any particular bias to saying, all right, we're going to introduce the concepts and then say, you know, do the practice so that you get the rhythm of using the concepts, right? No, right? Let's do both simultaneously. So, hey, who is this going to be? Who's going to call out the code, by the way? Not Jin. Who else did I say was going to do it?
Professor, may I call out the code?
Yeah, Lily, fantastic. Thank you for volunteering. Okay, you should also switch on your camera at some point. Okay, I'm going to turn the laptop around. I'm not going to be in your face. Switch on your camera, everybody. Hey, also, by the way, Mark, dismiss the blue console. So it's, you know, even though I'm not looking at the screen, if you guys cannot look at it, that's fine.
Oh,
For me, it increases the real estate.
is it visible?
Yeah. I think,
Alright.
you know what? These glasses kind of strange. Let me try this one sec, okay? Yeah, I know. Actually, you know what? I'll use the old glasses, but yeah, that font is okay. I can read it using namespace. Go ahead. If you guys can read it, I think that's fine. Okay. And ultimately, we're going to compile it, and that'll tell us whether it's all right or wrong.
You
Okay.
need to include Unis std.h as well.
Great.
Sorry,
Great.
stt.h.
No. He was saying UNISTD.h. By the
Oh,
way, Lily, you're going to call out the code, yes?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, hey, Mark, you're just going to type. Okay. So you're not going to type from memory or you're not going to type what you think is going to go next and all. Okay. So
Okay.
Lily's going to call out all the code. You're just going to be typing.
All right.
Okay, Lily, go ahead and take it from here.
Okay, so first we want to make
Actually, I can hear
a
I can't hear you
screen.
at all, by the way. Let me increase volume.
First, can you hear me better like this?
Oh, you know what?
Oh, I could hear you.
Let me play. I think I've got my speaker switched to Alexa, MacBook speakers. Okay. This is actually much better, I think. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you very much.
Okay, okay. So first we want to
Alexa,
make
stop.
the screen class, so class screen.
Class.
Yeah. And then open curly brace. And then we want to do private. And then colon. And then next line. And then we can define the variables. So they're type size t.
Type, wait. Type
S-
T? Sorry,
Size t.
sorry, I forgot this thing. I'm so nervous.
Yeah. And then the variables are top underscore left underscore row.
Top. Sorry. You mean
Yeah,
top?
top left row.
Oh, okay. Just write it. Top. I guess we need
For the first variable, there's also underscore and then row.
top row and column, right? Is that
Yeah,
right?
also like top left row like as one variable.
Top left row,
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, like that.
All right, great.
And then we have top left column or COL. And then width,
Within height, right?
yeah. Okay, and then after that is public. And then we want to create the constructor, so screen and then parentheses, and then inside the parentheses we have the parameters. So there's size t,
Oh, I guess we pass it to the screen, right?
yeah, size t row, and then size t col,
That's it.
size tw, and size th.
And I guess now we just assign it to our private variable, right?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you could write it in one line. I know that's like in Python, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if we can do it in one line.
All right.
Okay, and then after that, want to create a function that gets the top left of the corner, I think. So
Do we also need a destructor? I saw that. I don't know if we did last time. I couldn't quite remember.
I don't know if we need a destructor. Does anyone else have an idea about that?
We can just like place
We
out.
didn't have one for this one. We
Oh,
didn't
right.
have a destructor.
We had a clear method, but not a destructor. Yeah.
All right. So was that like a getter right now?
Yeah. A getter for the top left. So I think we call it get top left.
Is it what's the is
The
it
type it should be void because it doesn't return anything. We're just assigning like the variables to the
should I call
arguments. Yeah.
the top left?
Yeah.
All right.
And then inside we want to pass the row and the column. They should be type size t, and then they're passed by reference, so there's also an and sign.
row?
Yeah.
Row or
and then the column. Yep. And then inside set the variable of row to the top left row and then column to top left column. Yeah.
I think was there another getter?
Yeah, there was another one to get the dimensions. So void get dimensions. And then in the parentheses, you pass in the width as W and height as H. And then inside set W to the width and H to the height. And then the next function is to like move the cursor to a specific location. So void,
How come the ampersand is all the way up against the size t instead of by the variable? I'm just curious.
I think we could do it either next to the declaration or in between like a space or just like next to a variable. I think both three are fine.
It's a styling thing in C++, but if I recall, I think with C, it needs to be on the variable name itself.
okay, that's cool to know.
I know that's how our boilerplate code was, right? For the quest last week. I'm pretty sure that's how the convention was, but it shouldn't matter, right?
All right.
Okay, so the next thing is to create the move to function. So void move to, and then passing in the row and then the column. And then we want to print out the like have the cursor be at that specific like row and column location. So C out, and then there's the ANSI code sequence. So in quotation marks slash backslash 033 and then open square bracket. Yeah, and then after that print the row like row and then there's a semicolon. The semicolon is as like a character, so two like of the like less than signs, and then yeah, semicolon, and then after that's the column, and then after that there's also an H.
H.
Yeah, capital H. And then C out dot flush.
What did that flush do?
I think it flushes the memory from I think it flushes the contents from the buffer. I'm not 100% sure about it though, so I guess if anyone could add on to like explain what cout dot flush does.
Yeah, basically it makes everything in the buffer come out right away rather than storing all of it and then releasing it all at once.
Okay, cool. So does that mean like
Sure.
we're moving like the cursor to that like spot and then like making sure that like that happens at like this specific like moment?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That's my understanding.
Okay, cool.
So like if we don't count flush, it would just print out like not instantaneously, right? It just waits and
Right.
right.
Okay, so then after that, we want to make a clear function. So void clear, and then inside, do the open and close curly braces,
Oh, what?
like
Inside?
out after the parentheses. So like there's no parameters passed in.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then call the fill function. So fill and then parentheses, and then the quotation mark, like single quotation marks.
That?
Like or like the apostrophe sign, not like, so it defines like a space character instead of a string. Yeah.
Oh, it's space. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we need fill, huh?
And then after that, create the fill function. So void fill, and then inside pass in a character.
That like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we don't need the the curly braces because we're gonna define the function outside of the class. So instead of the open close curly braces, just put a semicolon after the fill function. Yep.
Oh, you remember like last time we did everything outside of the class.
Yeah. Okay. And then same thing, create a mark corners function.
Does it have anything inside?
No parameters.
No.
And then also type void.
Oh, sorry. About that.
Yeah. And then also there's void say at. And then inside there's a row, column, and a string that's passed in. Yeah. And then put a semicolon after the curly brace for the class. Yeah. Okay, and then create so the first thing, or actually the next thing to do is to make the fill function. So since this function is outside of the class, we want to like define it with void and then the class name, which is screen. And then double colon, yeah, and then fill, and then parentheses char C.
Should we
And
just
then we create I'm not really sure what this does though. So like string and then line, and then inside parentheses there's width and C.
say it?
So string,
String?
and then space, and then the word line, and then inside parentheses, and then inside width and then C.
What's inside line again, sorry?
Width.
Width?
Yeah, and comma C. Yeah.
Just a semicolon.
Could someone please explain what like this line of code does? I'm like kind of confused with this.
What's like line? I know I don't have this.
Yeah, so line is the just the name of the variable, but essentially where width is, with the string you can actually have it pass two arguments. So the first argument with it, which is width, will pretty much define how many of the characters you're going to have. And then from there, the second argument, C, is essentially what we're passing through the character C. So for example, with our screen, we're going to input like a bunch of dots. So C, we're going to pass in like a dot to it in a character format. And then once the program runs, then whatever the width number is, it's going to print out that many of that character. So like if width is 40, it's going to print out 40 dots.
Oh yeah, that makes sense
Okay.
because like string is just an array of characters, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Another question, like I'm a little bit confused about this. Is this like creating a is line a variable or a function? Because I see like the parentheses after line. So like I feel like it's a function, but it's also like there's no curly brace and then like you don't like define anything
Yeah.
inside.
I think string's a class. It's like it's a string's a class.
I mean, I think line is just the name of the string, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I understood.
Okay.
String just
So it's like
like
a variable.
yeah, just an array of characters that you declare it as a class. You can pass in like that.
Okay.
That's probably what happens.
Okay, thank you. So then we create a for loop after that. So for and then starting from 0 to the height. Yeah.
So,
And then we want to call the say at function. Yeah, within the for loop.
I don't know if we could just do that because I see that a lot. Like they don't have it's a
I
fancy
think
like
it'll work for if we have like one statement inside for loop. So yeah, this probably works with even without the curly brace.
let's try it.
Yeah, we can try that. Okay, and then inside we want to pass in the top left row.
Top. Just click that back. Okay.
And then plus I.
Oh, remember fixing this.
And then top left call.
Okay, so we need a string.
Yeah, and then line.
Oh, right.
Okay, so then now we should create the say at function. So void and then screen and then say at. Yeah, and then inside we want to call move to and then row and column. Yeah. And then see out s
That's
and then see out dot flush.
oh yeah, right.
Yeah, so this moves the cursor to the row and column and then prints out the specific character that we want. So in the fill function, we're printing out the character. Like,
Mhm.
for example, if we pass in like dots, then we'll just print out, I think, a row of dots. Okay, and then we should create could you please move your cursor to line 45? I think we should create the clear function and just put it like up there because that's like the order that we defined it in the class. So void screen and then clear. Yeah. And then inside we want to do fill and then within, yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. And then after that, we can go after the say at function and then create another function. So the mark corner. And yeah. And then inside So to create the corners with the like plus symbol, we can call say at the four corners like top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So first say at and then top left row
Left row.
and then
And
top left column and then the plus sign. Yeah. And then the next one is say at and then top left row. So we want to add the height of the thing that we defined and then so that we can go to, I think this would be the bottom left corner. So top left row plus height -1.
-1.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also, could
I
someone
think
please
it's
explain like why we did -1? Like why wouldn't it work without just top left row plus height?
I think because it's zero based.
It's
not
0
sure.
what?
top left row 0, like
Would be
Huh,
the
that's
position
interesting because
zero. I'm not
I
sure.
did like I searched it on Google and I saw that for this like it starts at row
Okay,
1 and column 1.
I think it's because we have I is less than height, so it's one less than height in the loop.
Okay. Oh, got you. Yeah, that makes sense because it ends at, I guess it ends at height -1. Okay.
um
Okay, thanks. And then after that, there's another say at. Then this time it's the top right corner. So top left,
Yeah.
just top left
the
row.
like left corner, one left row. I think I'm messing this up, right?
Wait, sorry, could you say that
Would,
again?
would it be right corner? Like top left right corner? I think I'm typing this variable wrong the entire time. Is it top left row and top left corner, is that right?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
top left row and column.
Because you would
Top
use the width and the height to get the opposite side.
Wait,
So when you say top left row plus height, that's the top. That's the top left at the very. I don't know.
oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, okay. It's just a position basically. Alright. So I guess we should have one more, right?
Yeah, but for this third one, which corner did you do for that one? Is it the top right corner?
I did so it was like so it starts at top left and so row and column, and then we
Mhm.
add height, that's like the vertical, and then
Yeah,
that one's like the horizontal, and that one's like the diagonal.
right. So then for the third one, there shouldn't be height for the top left row because
Oh yeah, I forgot. Just copy.
it's at the same row, but the column now is shifted, so it's column plus the width.
God, just copy and paste.
Yeah. And then we don't have to do -1 for width because we don't have the width in the for loop, so it can just end at the value of width.
Oh,
Okay, awesome.
wait,
Okay,
which
so
for
then
loop are we talking about?
the for loop at
Yeah.
line 52. So earlier I asked like why we did height -1, and it was because I stops at height -1. So if we did height instead, it would go
Oh yeah, I
over.
see.
Yeah.
But the string will fill the entire width. Okay, I see. I guess that's all the functions, right?
I think that is all for the
It's
screen class. Yeah.
a little better. So like you said, matches the order.
Okay, cool. Okay, and then after that is the point class. So create class point.
Class.
And then put a semicolon after, yeah. And then public,
Public?
yeah. And then create size t variables, row, column, previous row, previous column.
Size t row.
Yeah.
Which are just variables, right? Okay. Should say previous row. Let me just do that.
Yeah. And then there's the constructor, so point and then inside size t r and c for row and column.
And
Yeah.
is a good how about the previous row and column?
We don't have to set those because they'll be used later for the functions that like have the cursor like show at one spot and then like disappear. So those are going to be used later. And then we create voids and then set. So 3 functions: set, unset, and move. And then within all these 3, we want to pass in the screen object.
Okay. Screen
And then just call it screen. Like screen, like the one that you wrote earlier was good. So screen, and then we can just call that like parameters, like lowercase screen.
can I just say like it's CR because I don't want to confuse it.
Okay. And then also do the and sign, so then we pass it in by reference.
Was
And
there
then
no
same thing for an unset and then the move function.
it's the same screen, right?
Yeah.
Move.
And then also in move, we also want to pass in the row and column. So size t, r, and c. Okay, cool. And then we can start with the set function.
Hey, so I have a question, on point size TR, comma, size TC, close bracket, I have a colon followed by row R and column R followed by curly brackets, semicolon.
Sorry, which line are we talking about?
The point one, point size TR,
Point size T. This?
right? And instead of that, close bracket or open bracket, open curly brace, you want a colon, row R, row sub R, comma, column.
Oh, right. It's he's talking about an initializer list. So instead of putting it within the curly brackets, you do like a colon and then you list the 2 parameters. Or you initialize 2 different variables using the parameters. So basically you leave the curly bracket open. So yeah, you can oh, sorry, leave it blank, I mean. Like together. Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah,
that.
and then go back after the parentheses.
After the parentheses.
And then put a colon, space, row, parentheses R,
So what's that doing if you don't mind?
inside the parentheses,
The colon, what is it
comma,
doing?
and then colon, or just COL, parentheses C.
Oh, interesting.
So basically what that does is so we have these 2 what should we call them, like objects, variables, like we have row and column, but we don't actually like initialize them to like certain values. So basically what that list does is we take those two values and then we initialize them to the parameter values, R and C.
So it does the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's actually the same thing as just putting it within the curly brace, which is the same thing. But just
Essentially
like it's slightly more simpler, I guess. It's like cleaner. But it does the same thing, yeah.
Okay, that's cool to know.
Because like row is a size T. Like it's like for that kind of variable, that kind of data type variable, we could count the parentheses as a
You're right. Yeah, it's just like doing row is equal to R and column is equal to C. It's the same thing, yeah.
Okay, and then in
Okay, thank you
set-
for taking your time to explain that. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. And then in the set function, we can call the say at function for the screen object. So screen dot say at, and then we want to pass in row, column, and then this and star, like the asterisk character. Yeah. And then set the previous row variable. So that's where we use the one that's defined in the class. So previous row equals our current row, and then previous column equals the current column. So this draws I think this draws the star character at the row and column, and then we define the previous row and previous column so that later we can I think we can put a space there. So then it leaves that like trail. So then the next function we create is the unset function.
oh, I see, what like stores the value of that. So we could put a space at the
Right. And then screen dot say at, and then same thing, row, column, but then this time it's a space to like unset it.
and
And then also do a previous row and previous column.
should it be previous column? Previous row. Okay. I'm a little confused. Like, is unset like supposed to track the star, or is it supposed to cover the star entirely?
It's just supposed to put a blank space at the given point.
So at row and column, or not at previous row and column?
Wait, I don't think we've used unset. So this function, like the move is the one that has the previous row and previous column. So you're right. So with move, we do the previous. I'm not sure if we use unset though. So
So I guess we just don't need to touch that, right?
yeah. So we can just create the move function. So then screen dot say at, and like you said, previous row and previous column and the space. And then we should pause so we do use sleep.
Loosely.
And then the value was 125 times 1,000. So then after it pauses, we want to do the screen and then say at. And then at the current row and column, so R and C, we want to print the asterisk.
Sorry, do we use row and column? Like,
Just R and C because that's the value that we passed in.
Wait.
And then comma and then the asterisk sign.
Wait, why is it R and C? Like, it's in like,
The RNC is the one that we passed in like at, line 91 with the values RNC, because when we call the move, we are putting in the specific like coordinates that we want the trail to like appear at. So that's why it has to be the one that we like took from the parameters.
so is it the destination we're trying to get?
I think it's a starting point.
Oh, okay. So, it moves from that. So what does row and column do?
Where
Like, well, why do we have row column if we're not moving them? I'm not getting.
I think row and column, I'm currently looking at the code. I think, well, I see row and column used at another function, line 83. This one is to set the asterisk at a specific point. Looking at the code, we later in the main function we do call a set function at the screen. So I think it might be this place where the asterisk starts. If anyone like knows knows for sure like what the row and column does, like feel free to share out. Okay, I think we can look into it later as well. For let's finish coding this. So at the move function we have, and then lastly we want to set the previous row to the current row and then previous column to current column. So R and C.
R.
Okay. And then now we can just write some code in the main function. Okay, so the first thing is to create the screen object. So we want to call the screen class, and then we can create like a variable name for the object. So I guess we can just call it like my screen. And then we can put in the I think they're the coordinates. So there's the row, column, width, and height. So we want to start with zeros. So 0, 0, 120, and then 30. Okay, and then we can call, so my screen dot fill, and then we can put the period so that it fills the terminal with the periods.
I guess for the question earlier, I may be wrong with this, but what I'm thinking that the row and column are for are essentially going to be like the new point location for like the next I guess area that asterisk is supposed to be. So for on line 91, we're passing in we want to pass in those row and call variables to R and C. So that's why we're using R and C on line 94 as opposed to just writing row and call, because we want to put in a new location for that asterisk, which is ideally going to be like in front of it. And then afterwards, at the beginning, then we set the previous space that we had before to an empty spot. So it gives like a animation effect.
Yeah, I see what you're
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
The only thing is I see, so in the code, I see that the dot move function, we put in like a number. So later on, it'll be like 4 and then I. It's in like the functions in like a for loop, so I don't think we like directly pass in row and column there.
I think if I understand correctly, I think saying that the point class, if it declared as a variable, it just does one thing. It just like you just access at the given row and column, but the move function, it would shift the row and column, and then we
Yeah, I think I see what she's saying though, because she is right that we do just put in like direct numbers as opposed to like saying like the row and call from the original point. But I think roll and call is just so that when you initially set the first point, like when you create that object, it lets it do it lets the constructor set R and C um, to that, I believe, to the numbers that you put in.
So
Yeah.
like in the main function, we would just say set, and you just access at the initial point, and then we can move the point. And wait, but it doesn't
Yeah.
change row and column, right? It doesn't change row and column at all.
Or I'm sorry.
Oh no,
So
sorry. I didn't see the say at function. So that just replace what's happening in set. So we don't need to call the set function.
right, so the set function is for the first point, I believe. Like to get it onto the screen. But after that, we're going to put a for loop where we're going to set the row to a certain number. And then from there, we're going to have I act as like the horizontal kind of shifting of the asterisk. So that's going to be incremented by 1 every single time for that moving effect.
I see. We should call point, we should call set ones, and in a loop, we just move.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then we should have a loop that inside we should put move, right? And then
Yeah,
initially we said,
right. But yeah, I think Lily's about to pretty much get into that part pretty soon.
Okay, yeah, I think I understand now as well. So like row and call, like those two variables, they aren't directly used in the move function, but they're used to define like where the like trail thing, like it's gonna start at. So like in the set function, it's like where the asterisk first appears. So then anyways, after that, we wanna mark the corner on the screen. So my screen dot mark corners. Okay, and then we can create the point object. So point, and then we can call it like my point. And then we can put in the row and column here. So this is where the asterisk starts at. So like, let's just say 4 and 5. Yeah. And then after that, we can do my point dot set, and then putting in my screen inside the parentheses. So this passes in the my screen object into dot set, and then that'll create, I think that'll create the asterisk at the row and column.
yeah.
And then we ended off with the for loop. So we create a for loop that starts at I is 5.
Five.
And then less, and then I ends at I is less than 100. And then increment, yeah. And then we should move the point, so we can call the move function on my point. And then the 3 arguments to pass in, we want to pass in the my screen object, and then the row, which is 4, and then the column, which will be I, as I keeps incrementing.
Is it the location of the point?
It's just 4. That's what we did last time.
I and like
4
like
and then I, yeah. So for the 5, replace it with I, and then for the 4 plus I, just keep it as like only 4. Yeah, so this keeps the trail like on row 4, and then it keeps moving past each like column. And then we
Oh.
want to pause between each one. So next line, use sleep 150.
Didn't like move already half asleep? Or do it
Yeah.
again?
We can try running it without use sleep to see what will happen.
I see like why there's 2, because it's
I
like
think it'll just be faster if there is no use sleep in the for loop.
no, like I think the sleep is like 2. It was to see, right? Like otherwise it goes a little too fast.
Mhm.
You draw like a space and then you sleep and then you do that. And then
Right.
you sleep again.
Yeah.
Maybe what was the number again? Like 100.
150.
All right.
Okay, let's try running the code.
Okay.
Oh, 150 is too fast, by the way. If you do something like 125 multiplied by 1000, that's what we used last time, and it was a lot slower.
All right, let's see what's happening.
You have to choose a language, C++.
Yeah. Sorry, kind of choose C++. Okay, getting the error.
Okay, so at line 17, there should probably be a type for H.
H.
Yeah, it would have to be size TH.
17. Oh, yeah, the typo there.
Try running it again.
And I think we have a mismatch between string and character. Say it has a string, right?
Okay,
Is it
so it
true
says
or-
line 63. So could you go to that line, please?
Should you put a string instead?
Okay, so instead of the, like, yeah, so double quotes. Okay,
Or could you change the string to a character in the say at?
okay, yeah. And then for line 94, put the asterisk in there because it needs to like create the asterisk after the space. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Fill? What does fill do? All right,
Okay, let's try running the code again.
that worked, right?
Yep.
Didn't stop. All right, so I guess we're done. Oh yeah, this is the problem I'm talking about. Like, let me try if it's. What if I had that? It's very interesting. All right. Should I paste it in the chat?
This is good to go.
Looks good.
Great, great. Okay, well, before we take it to the next level, I noticed that there were, I overheard that there were a few things in the code as Lily was talking through it. Thank you, Lily, so much. Okay, this is great. It's not just talking through the code, but also, shepherding and making sure that, we actually keep moving. So all of that is fantastic, appreciated greatly. Thank you. Right. So anyway, I noticed that as she was talking through the code, there were a few places where you guys had questions and said, you know, well, I don't know, we could look up or something like that. So we can do a really quick once over of the code if you have any questions. And if I remember some of the questions that you guys were talking about, I can bring them up. And if you have any doubts at all about what we're doing in this code, I will be happy to explain it. And then we'll go on to do the next part. Here's what I'm thinking. It's 7 o'clock, you know, 7:06 now. I'm pretty sure we will be able to do what I have in mind. Oh, by the way, you didn't do that, you know, Richard's trick. I think he had at the very at the end of main, I think he had a move to 31,0 or something. Yeah, after the for loop, yeah, it's I think it's my screen dot move to my screen. I think that the 31,0 is it? Yeah, I think it's 31,0
I have
row
comma
31 column 0.
1. I have
Um,
comma
No, I think it's 0 because the 31 row 31 column 0.
move to what?
No, just put it to the 31,0. I think that is correct. Yeah. All right. Okay. I get rid of the extra blank line under that. There were a few more questions that you guys had. Okay. So if you run it now, I think it should look much better with the green stuff.
My screen doesn't have a move to function.
Oh, you guys didn't do one?
My screen has a move function.
Oh, it has a move. No, that's point. No.
Yeah, so you mean like my point, right?
No, not my point. It's my screen. My screen dot.
We don't have the move
What are the
function.
methods for my screen? Show me the methods for my screen.
Could you
Okay.
leave it so I can see it?
Oh wait, I
Last time we wrote my point.
It's at
Oh,
line
okay. I see
I
34.
see move to right there. You see move to?
Yeah, line 34.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
there it is. I do see move to. Yeah, get rid of the two blank lines, but that's okay. Yeah, cleaned up. Yeah. All right. Now I think if you run it now, we'll actually see then. You know, it looked much better with the. All right. Now, here's what I'm thinking we'll do. Okay. We're going to define a couple more methods, I think. Yeah, we'll just do a couple more methods. Essentially, this will be like not just drawing a point, but I think oh, there you go. That's nice. This is the effect we're going for, you know?
Oh, wait, why does it do that?
No, so, you know, you remember last class when we had this code or the class before, Richard said he had a, say at 31,0 and then a blank space or something like that. So that when that green part is printed by, you know, online GDB, it doesn't overwrite our screen. It moves to after you see the cursor at the end of the last asterisk that's been printed, the cursor is going to be right there on the fourth. Yeah.
This is row 31, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, we just move to 31 to 0. That's all. So this is kind of cool. Anyway, well, so the idea I had, and I think it's very simple, is on 31 sayat using their sayat, right? 31 then 31,0 enter horizontal velocity and then cn get the value from the user in pixels per second. Okay. Well, we say per second, but I think for us per second is basically per tick, which is I don't know, every 125,000 milliseconds. I don't know, whatever it is that you guys have, right? So it's pixels per tick. Or something like that. We'll figure it out. Okay. And then enter the vertical velocity. And then all we're going to do is in the main, instead of a for loop that goes from here in a straight line, we are going to start placing the star in 0,0, which is the bottom left now, not the top now. So we're going to do some translation. So starting from here. Okay, so this is 0,0, 0,1, 0,2, 0,3 going horizontally, and then 1,0, 2,0 going vertically. So basically your X and Y axis are going to be like this. This grid is going to be our graph paper with this is the Y axis and this is the X axis, and this is the origin. okay, lower left of the origin. So we're going to write a function called plot a point, which is going to take the points values, but it's going to plot it on the screen using the lower left as the of the screen as 0, 0. Now, I would love to, there is a very small amount of logic involved in coding up this, like 2 or 3 lines of logic. I'm not talking about if and then and things like that, just getting the values right. If you guys would like to do that, I will, when we got this function, I'll leave the body of the code for you guys to fill in, okay? I won't talk through that. That way, it'll be good practice too. What else? Okay. All right. So, and we're going to calculate in our loop, in our for loop in main, we're going to say plot the first, projectile at 0, 0, then calculate the new position by, calculating the new horizontal position, new vertical position. Okay, there it is. Okay. And then new horizontal, new vertical. So each time in our for loop, you're going to calculate and plot so it'll look like the projectile is going, going through a parabolic path from the left to the right. Anyway, in my mind, it seems to look like that, but we'll find out, okay? When we run it, I think it should look pretty cool. Okay, so that is our plan. But before we get to that, let's do this, do a once over of this code, because I did notice that if some of you had some questions, okay? So I'll just answer. If nobody else wants to take over and answer the questions, I'll answer the questions for you. Okay, just do, all right, so let's do the screen class. All right. All right, screen and then top left. Oh, I see. Why do you have top left low and top left column in 2 different lines, but then width and height in the same line? So you can keep them, close together and it'll be nicer. Okay, all right. Okay, now screen, all right, public, and that's a constructor. Okay, all right. And then
I don't need a deconstructor for screen.
Yeah, okay, very good question. The destructor. Now, in your pet class, in your question or in your homework, you do actually have to have a destructor. Now, I strangely enough, I don't remember that the CID, right, the course descriptor issued by the government, if you download it from on the web, I think it doesn't talk about destructors in the CID, and I think that's because it's language agnostic. But in C++, we can't really teach C++ without teaching destructors, okay? So I think it's left out of many syllabi because it's kind of paralleling Java and Python and things like that. But people do need to know about destructors because it's a very unique and powerful feature of C++. Puts memory management in your hands so that you know exactly, well, you know what? It's better for me to release like 10 bytes now rather than 10,300 bytes later on, and lock up the machine for 2 milliseconds. Okay, so all of these fine-grained decisions you can make, and you'll know exactly when to use resources and when to release them, rather than. That is one of the things that really enables C++ programs to be really fast.
So is it a class? A C++ class is a heap allocated memory, so you need a destructor?
No. In C++, classes are not on the heap. Okay, in Java, for example, all classes are on the heap. Objects are created on the heap and you get a pointer to the object and the object could be out there. C++ is really cool because you can have an object even on the stack, in your local stack. So in fact, you don't have to do memory management at all. You can say, give me an object, but it's not on the heap. It's just here, right here on my desktop, okay? In your, with this thing called stack memory and then this heap memory. We will talk about that later on when we talk about pointers and all. But stack is like immediate memory, automatic variables. When you say int I, int j, right? You don't say, give me a new integer and then I destroy, give me a new, float. You don't do that all the time. You just say int I, int j, or float x, yeah? And then when your curly brace hits, it's dead, right? It's from the scope of the variable. It's from when it's declared until the curly brace matches, right? And it's automatically taken care of. You don't have to release it. So that is automatic memory. It's automatic memory. Parameters are automatic variables because they automatically come in and automatically go. You don't have to manage them yourself. However, there's another class of variables. And those variables are called variables on the heap. And you get them by doing system calls like malloc and new, right? Say, give me memory that's on the heap. Now, stack memory is managed by the system. It'll just come and go. You don't have to worry. But when you get something on the heap, you got to be really, really careful in saying, well, you know what, I'm done with it. I'm going to give it back to the operating system. If not, it'll be earmarked as, you know, it was given to Mark. And until Mark says it's free to go, I'm not going to give it to someone else. But Mark might think, well, you know what, I'm done with the memory, but I'm not going to tell the operating system I'm done, right? You might forget about it. So until your program dies, that is basically locked up. Nobody else can use it. So, so these programs are okay, I guess. Well, they're really not okay at all. But, you know, they'll escape. Even though they're low quality, they'll escape most of the time. Even in the real world, I've seen. They'll escape if the programs are short-lived, meaning they're not like daemons or programs that are always running like threads of Chrome or something like that. Then if the program is bad, you'll actually see the program starting to get bigger and bigger over time. Like if you go and, you know, look at your task manager and look at Chrome, a process that's been running for a long time, and it's actually getting bigger and bigger, it will just mean sloppy memory management. The programmer who wrote it was, you know, got memory and it didn't release it properly. Right? So the program gets fatter and fatter, and the operating system will suddenly kill it one day. Right? So you've got too much memory and you're not using it, something like that. So it's not just Chrome. I'm saying, you know, any program that gets really big, you know, and lots of programmers work on it, you know, the scope for slack in it builds up. But that is why C++ programmers or real C++ program, or, you know, the cream of the top crop, because they actually know, even if they're doing it in Java or Python, their allocation of resources will be more mindful of the fact that even though I have a servant, a garbage collector following me, right, who knows to pick up the stuff that I take and I just throw away, not in the trash can, but that garbage collector will pick it up and throw it in the trash can. But even though someone is doing it for me, I'm going to make sure that person has got the least amount of work to do, meaning that I won't just do things willy-nilly, right? I'll create an object and destroy it when I absolutely have to. Whether it's Python or Java, it doesn't matter. And the reason I say that is because I have witnessed code, seen code written by, you know, Java programmers who don't actually know, they can get stuff going, but they don't actually know the details of how these things happen in computer, you know, low-level computer science. They just use things, you know, and so things will get done eventually, but they'll get done a whole lot less efficiently than when it was written by a squeaky clean, you know, a programmer who actually knows everything all the way down to the assembler, knowing exactly what the hell goes on. Okay, so they'll be more careful and be patient and looking for all the nooks and crannies. Say, well, is there a memory leak in that corner? Okay, why is this, you know, and they'll spend ages, right, without being frustrated. They'll just look at their program, even though it's working, everybody's happy with it, I'm not happy. Okay, I have actually worked with programmers who feel that way, right? Yeah, so the manager says, you know, let's release it. It's good enough to go. It's fantastic, right? So the lead engineer or the director of engineering, they're not happy with it, right? Say, oh no, let me noodle on this for a few more days. I want to get this ironed out, because they're mindful of these things and they just sleep on it without actually. So it's kind of cool. So these things, destructors. Fortunately for the screen class, long-winded answer to whoever's question it was, we're not doing a destructor because we're not doing any heap memory management. Okay, so every class that you define will automatically get a constructor and a destructor for free if you don't define it. Okay, the compiler will give you a default constructor for free, even if you don't define it. And the default constructor is basically just going to give you everything that's part of this package. We'll just create memory that's equal to, you know, 10 integers or whatever it is that's in the class. Okay, and we'll call it class A, right? So that is your default constructor. If you want, and most people do, they define their own default constructor, saying, well, you know what, it's not enough for just getting the memory. I should get the memory and also initialize those variables to certain values. Okay, then you have a default constructor which says, you know, this is my default value. And so on. So the over default, it's when you have your own default constructor, it overrides the one that's given by the compiler. So that is what the override does. It's always given to you for free. In this case, we will just do with default destructor because we're not asking the operating system to give us any resources that will persist beyond the automatic destruction of this object by the default constructor, right? The default destructor, by the way, right? We'll basically say, well, you know what, this screen object is done. There's 4 size T guys associated with this object, and they're all free to go. Okay, it'll destroy it automatically. That happens for free. Now, if you wanted something to happen more than that, right? We say, well, not only that did we release memory for those 4 size T objects, but we also incremented some global variable somewhere saying one more screen was created and destroyed. Okay, maybe you want to do that. Keep kind of all the screens that were ever created and destroyed by this program. Okay, then you have a destructor and override it. Otherwise, you're free to go with no destructor. Same with constructors too, right? So I think this point was raised before, and I think I overheard this too, saying, well, you know, what's a default constructor? I need to understand this more. And I think one of you raised it in the forum too, in your reflections, saying I need to understand more what a default destructor is. This is what it is, okay? So in this case, we're actually not having a default destructor. You know, yeah, we don't have a default destructor, okay? What we did was we provided explicitly a non-default destructor, meaning this screen constructor, oh, no, this, yes, I'm sorry, default constructor, right? We don't have a default constructor. We actually disable the default constructor by saying this object actually has a non-default constructor. If you don't give it any parameters, it'll say, there is no default constructor. I don't know how to create a screen object, because you disable the automatic default constructor by explicitly providing a non-default constructor. So when you use a screen object, it will force you to say, if you want a screen object, you better tell me what the top left zero, you know, X, Y, whatever it is, the 4 guys are. If you don't tell me the values of those 4 guys, you don't get a screen. So you're forcing that explicitly by saying, you know, that you're having a non-default constructor. Okay, but the destructor, we just use the default destructor that is good enough for us. Okay, it is just going to release the value for us. Are you guys okay with that? What else? All right, so you there was a question about void get top left and get dimensions. Dimensions, by the way, I think it was plural. I don't even know if we're using it. Are we using it? I don't even. We are using it.
We're not using it.
Yeah, we're not using it. Okay.
So I think the answer is already no, but is there any way to move your cursor to a certain point on the screen and then be able to read what's already there?
Unfortunately not. It is possible, by the way, using a special library, and I think the library is called Curses, okay? Curses. It is also possible using ANSI codes, okay? I think if you look in the exhaustive list of all ANSI codes, I think it is possible to read what is on the cursor. What is in the cursor position at a certain location. It's possible. Yeah, maybe it's possible. Okay, maybe someone can do some research and say, hey, I looked at a comprehensive list of all ANSI codes, and it says, you know, if you send this escape square brackets semicolon x35 or whatever it is, it'll read the, you know, that location and tell you what the contents are. Maybe it's possible. Okay, so I don't know, but it's a good question, Richard. So if someone can do some research about it and say, hey, you know what, I you know, did look more into this, or even, you know, if I looked in the code, the file that Richard shared at some point, I think it had a whole bunch of ANSI codes, you know, and I looked at his code and I said, you know, this part was all about to do with colors, and I thought I'll just mention this, right? You can copy and paste that. Right. So there are a bunch of ANSI codes that will do interesting things. Oh, yeah. I think I heard a discussion about whether the ampersand should be with the row or the type. Yeah, is that right? And I think I did want to chime in on this because someone was the wrong information was being given out. Okay, now there is no difference whether it's next to size t or whether it's next to row. It's exactly the same as far as the compiler is concerned. However, okay, for stylistic reasons, and also for the reason that the code will not confuse someone else and mean the same thing to a human as to a compiler, which are they're all important readability topic issues. The ampersand should be next to the variable and not to the type. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. So this and the reason and the rationale for that is very simple. If someone asks you, right, why, you know, why is this? Because this also works. The compiler accepts it. Why shouldn't we do it this way? Right. Because people will ask you, and you have a rational defense to it. And you say, well, you can't do it this way because if it was attached to the type, then I can have another variable thinking it's also of the ampersand reference. But the ampersand only applies to the first one, right? In other words, if you had size t ampersand x comma y, right? The human will think, well, you know, the size t ampersand is a type by itself. And so both x and y are the same type. Size t ampersand. No. The truth is, you know, x is a reference to a size t, but y is a size t of its own. So they're different types. So it's very confusing for humans, and it's error prone, bug prone. The same thing to do with pointers too. When you have pointers, and I've seen even if you go on Stack Overflow, you know, people who don't know how to program, maybe they're just you know, saying this is title, this is what you should follow. I've seen answers like that, and sometimes getting even upvotes, right? But that is all total nonsense. because, you know, just reason dictates that if you have the pointer star here, you know, error, the chances of error are much more, because, you know, size t, you know, it looks like a pointer type by itself, but it's not, right? The compiler has to see the same thing that you do, otherwise chances of error are increased. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Were there any other questions? This I happen to remember. So all right, screen clear, Phil. All right, that's great. I think we had screen clear inline. That's okay. That's okay. We actually had it inline, but if you guys are comfortable with this, that's okay. All right, clear and then Phil. All right, say that. Yeah, okay. All right, that all looks good. I don't remember any. Oh yeah, this was -1, height -1 or left, something like that. You know, I think it is not height -1. It is just row plus height -1. Is that correct? Row plus height -1.
I think we're talking about how in line 50 the loop doesn't include.
Oh, in the loop, yeah. I less than height, yeah. I put the two spaces on both sides of the operators. It'll be much more readable. I less space less than height. Oh yeah, that was high. Whether less than or equal to height -1. I think Lily was thinking about less than or equal to height -1, and you changed it to less than height, which is the same. Is that right? Was that the discussion?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Now, in this discussion, you had, you know, height -1, and then said, you know, we'll just use height instead of height -1, I guess.
Yeah.
That's resolved it? You resolved it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Richard, are you okay? Richard, are you okay?
I'll be okay. I've been feeling sick for the last week or so.
All right, okay. Well, it sounded like you were gasping or something, so I just wanted to make sure. It could be, you know, something stuck in your throat. All right, okay, good. All right, okay. Now, I guess that's all. It's all working now, right? So why don't we do the next step? Okay, why don't we go to main, and then say get rid of that line 106 to 109. Get rid of that. Yeah, and then put a comment there. My point upset. Hang on, what is it? My point dot. Oh, you know, what is it? What is that point? My point 4,5. My point dot set. Yeah. I say, you know, get rid of that also. Line 103, 104. We don't need that. Yeah, okay. We'll have mark corners. That's okay. I was thinking we need a couple more methods for point. Okay, so let's go to the point class. And by the way, Mark, okay, you've been coding this part. You should feel free to hand over to someone else at this point. Who did? Someone was back up at this point. Hey, Richard wanted to code. Richard, do you want to code?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, so you can pick up the URL and then you can code.
Working on it.
I already sent the link in the chat. It's the last one.
I already got it.
All right, cool. Should I just unshare my screen?
Yeah, you can unshare it, and Richard will pick it up. By the way, after Richard, who else? I don't know, I think Jan has Jan. You've not. Hey, Jesus, you haven't coded, right? And Yichu too. Yichu. Hey, Yichu, you coded yesterday. Hey, last class, right? Yichu, did you code last class?
No.
I keep forgetting these things. So you guys have to remember and actually basically volunteer. Okay, I know Francis coded last class. Ian and Francis. Okay, he says you should code too. Yeah. We've only got a couple of classes left. If you miss these opportunities, you know, you don't get them so easily.
Okay.
Okay. All right, great. Hey, how come your screen is like all the, you know, portrait mode? Richard, your screen is like more vertical than horizontal.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. And
anyway, your screen was much bigger. So maybe the font was, yeah, I can still read it. Okay. All right. So here's what we wanted to do. So for point, so let's go to line. That's what I was looking for. Thank you so much. Okay, it's much more readable for me now. Okay, so let's go to the point class. And then for the point class, yeah, under move, go to line 77, hit enter. Yeah, one more enter, one more enter. Yeah, one more enter, and then start to put a comment there and say, we'll define plot methods for the screen. No, plot, not plus. No, plot methods, plot.
Pause.
Plot. P-L-O-T. No, not B, it's P-L-O-T. Yeah,
Plot.
method. Yeah. Plot methods for the screen. Which treat the lower left on the next line. So yeah, which treat the lower left of the screen, which treat the lower left of the screen as the origin. Okay. Yeah. So you got to fix the as the origin. Yeah. And then there's a W before screen too. All right. Enter. All right. So now what we want to do is say plot. Yeah. Say plot void plot x comma y. Okay. Void plot size t x size t y. Yeah. Size t x size t y. Size t x size t x and size t y. Okay. Now what we want to do is x is going to give us our size tx and size ty. Size tx, size ty. Okay, so put a semicolon and we'll do it out of line. Okay, we'll do it. We'll place it. Yeah. Right now, let's go to no. That's enough. I think. Get rid of the blank line, and let's go to line 99 and hit enter. You can get rid of the blank line there, because all right. Yeah, void point double colon plot. And then size t x size ty. So y is okay because that is the column number, and the column number is 0, 1, 2, 3. That is okay. But for x, what we need to do is x is 0. Then you want to go all the way to, number of rows. Okay. If x is 1, you want to go to number of rows minus 1. So basically, what you want to do is translate the whatever is given to you by changing the x to match the row number you want. Okay, so now plot. Oh no, hang on one sec. Okay. Oh, plot takes the screen by reference also. I'm sorry. Okay, on line 81. The first parameter to plot is also the screen SCR by reference. No. A screen, and then the reference goes on the other side. Screen, no, capital screen, the capital S screen, space, ampersand, SCR. Yeah, comma. Yeah, all right, okay. Now we need that also in the definition on line 101. Now, is there someone can tell me, is there a way to get the dimensions of the screen and to find out, the top left? We need to get the top left and the top. Yeah. We did actually define methods. Yeah. Capital SCR. Capital SCR. Capital SCR. Capital SEREEN. Yeah. Space. Ampersand. No. Space. Ampersand. SCR. Yeah, that's a parameter. Comma, space. All right, now go to the end and hit enter. Right now, what we want to do is int n, size t, n rows, comma, n calls, size t, n rows, comma, n calls, size t. No, make it actually size t because it's returning a size t or we're getting a size t. The parameters have to match, otherwise the compiler will. Yeah, size t. Yeah, n rows. Yeah, that's fine. You can call it whatever you want. Yeah, comma and calls. And then also on the same line, you can say width, comma height, width, comma height. Size t. In fact, you don't need to say size t many times. Size t one time, and then all of the 4 variables after that. You have 2 size t's. No, width, no, height and width, height and width, height and width, height and width. And semicolon at the end, and you can remove the second size t. You got a size t after n rows. Yeah. No, comma, to go to comma. Yeah, right. And then you got a, yeah. Excellent. All right. Okay. Now we have this method we defined for screen that says, enter one more time, enter one more time. Yeah. All right. Now I want to say scr dot get, I think it's called get top. Did we call it get top left? Yeah, get top left, get top left. Oh, it's not n rows and n calls. I'm so sorry. We need to change the name of those variables now. Top left row, top left call. Okay, not n rows, n calls. No, on line 102, the name of the variables. No, no, that's okay. Yeah, on line 102. I'm so sorry. I'm jumping around, Richard. Okay. So I remembered on line 102, change n underscore rows to top or maybe TL underscore row, TL underscore call or something like that, because those are the 2 variables we want. Yeah, top. Yeah, but it needs to say left somewhere because it should, the left and right, there's 2 possibilities. Yeah, and then top left, one more, top left under, and yeah, top left column. You got 2 rows there. Yeah, right. And then top left column. Great. And the space on this side and not that side. Okay. All right. So get top left. Excellent. Open parentheses. And you're going to pass top left row and top left column as parameters. Yeah, you can actually copy and paste those 2 guys in the same order. Someone should verify by looking at the code at the top of the code, saying if this is the right way to call it. Okay. All right, semicolon and enter, and then say screen.get dimensions. Hey, we're using it finally. No, get dimensions. Get.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. And then I think it's height and width. Yeah, okay. Great. Now, what we want to do is move. Yeah, okay. All right. Size. All right. So hit enter and say open a comment. Hit enter and open a comment. Yeah, open a comment. Calculate the place at which the point should be shown. Yeah. All right. So I think so we can say size t c equals column is equal to the y value, right? So the size t space. Actually scroll up and bring it up to the middle of your screen so that it's yeah, there you go. Yeah, size t space c equals say space, no space, size t space c equals the y, and put the spaces on both sides of the equals. C space equals space, right? What was it? Just y, right? So the y value tells you what the column is. Now for the row, what we're going to do, yeah, semicolon, hit enter, and then size t row equals r equals, right? Top left plus height minus x, right? Top left row, top left row, top left row. No, top left row. You've already got that. Top left row, plus height minus x. Minus x, right? I put spaces around the plus and the minus so that it's clear that there is an expression there. Otherwise, it looks like a large variable. Okay, right? Semicolon. Now we want to set this semicolon at the end, right? Now what we want to do is, where does that move to? Yeah, there you go. All right. So what we want to do is screen.say at, when I say PEV, no, it's you know what is it PEV? It should say previous. Did it actually compile and run before? It shouldn't say PEV, right? It should say PREV in your move to on line 95. Line 95. Why does it say PEV? Where is it? Is in your point class? What is go to your point class? Oh, you're calling them PEV instead of PREV. That's why. Okay. Got to refactor it at some point, okay? In your point class, it's yeah, not PEV row, it's prev row, previous row and previous column. Don't worry, if you change it now, it'll just break a lot of things. Yeah, you can actually do that much more easily if you're in Xcode or VS Code, one of those IDEs. You just double click and say everywhere and all the millions of files that I have in this project, if you see this variable, change it, right? It'll actually go ahead and do it. Online GDB can. Actually, click on that variable and then right click. Maybe they got it done in JavaScript. Okay, double click on PEV row. Double click on PEV row. Are you doing that? Oh, you're doing a JavaScript replace of the whole thing. Okay, risky, but yeah, you can do that. And then also a prev column. Yeah, replace all. Great. Okay. Right. That's it. And you can X out of the, search and replace. But just double click one of the variables and right click on the guy. Double click any one of the, like previous column, right? Double click one of them, highlight it. Yeah, and right click on it. Does it say? No. All right. So I thought, the JavaScript actually trapped the right click off the thing and then offered to do a refactor and rename like regular, because they're getting more and more like an IDE, right? And trying to build as much of the functionality as possible. All right, okay. All right, now what we want to do is yeah, back in our code, yeah, like we want to say screen.say at on line 111 screen.say at yeah a previous comma row, previous comma call, and then erase whatever the previous one previous column comma space, and put spaces around the comma after, right? And previous column, and then third parameter to that should just be a blank space. So erase the previous point where it was set. After previous columns, comma, after previous column, comma, a space, and then within quotes you say a blank space. No, just a space, a semicolon at the end. All right, and then I think you're doing a use sleep. Just do a use sleep for now. Well, it's a hack, but we'll need to fix it later. Okay, use sleep 125 times 1000 for now. Same as that. Yeah, same as that. Actually, you copy and paste all those three lines, 96 to 98, 96 to 98. And I think that's basically, and get rid of the blank line, get rid of the blank line. Yeah, get rid of those blank lines. That's it. I think that's basically it. Yeah, get rid of all three blank lines. Okay, all right. So in your main, we should be able to test it now, right? So the other thing to really get into the habit of, like we're doing in class, and it'll help you greatly in your questing. So every time you write a function, go to your main and do a little test that may just call that function in all kinds of ways and make sure it goes. Okay, and it's a really useful habit to have. It'll save you hours and hours and frustration when it comes to questing, because sometimes you write something and it doesn't work, and it's like 5 functions, you don't know which one has gone wrong. And the way to get around that is every time you write, even 5 lines in your code, see if there's a way to test it in your main. Because I always have something to test it all the time, so that you're not diverging too much at any time. You don't have to correct and come all the way back as your micro, directing that. Okay, all right. Now here, what we want to do is put a comment there. Put a comment there. Yeah, put a comment. In a for loop, make a point, go vertically from 0, 0 to 40, 40. Right? What are the dimensions of the screen? 120. Oh yeah, 30, 30. Right? 30, 30 to 30, 30 diagonally. Go diagonally from. Hey, no, you don't have to say diagonally there. We said vertically. Change vertically from. Change vertically to diagonally, and then yeah, fantastic. All right, so that's what we're going to do, and this is our test. So can someone write a? You can talk Richard through this. We need a for loop inside of which we're basically going to use the plot method of the point to plot a point at 0, 0, okay? And then at 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So the line will, instead of going like that, it is going to go like that with a slope of 45 degrees, okay? So that's what we should see. Well, Rich is already starting to type it out. Okay. I think you don't even need a curly brace, right? So it's just going to be that one statement there. But it's okay, yeah. We need to define a point somewhere. So you want to say point 0? Yeah, you need to define a point somewhere. No, you got to do a point outside. Do a point outside, and then you just point plot it or something. Oh, it's just kind of funny the way that we've.
I'm not sure what to do here.
Oh, I see. Then I'll call it out. Okay. All right. So yeah, say a capital point, yeah, capital point. Yeah, space P. We always say PT. Say PT for point, PT. And how do we define what are the constructor for the point? Does a point take does a point take any parameters? The constructor? Can someone tell me if I shouldn't be the only one coding, okay? Can someone tell me if the point constructor takes parameters? No, it doesn't take the screen parameter. The point takes X and Y.
Row and column. I might be wrong. Hold on. Sorry, I wasn't looking.
Yeah, hey,
For the constructor row,
guys,
yeah.
Everybody should be paying attention to class, okay? What is a point class?
I think it should be row and column, like R and C. Are those the parameters?
Okay, so point 0, 0, right? PT, and then after PT, say 0, 0 within parentheses. Not there, outside. You already have point on line 126. Yeah, yeah, parentheses 0, 0, right? So that is our original point. And semicolon there, and and then inside of the inside of 4, you're going to say point pt dot plot, no, just no, pt dot plot, and indent in. No point there. No, you don't say point. Indent in, tab in, pt dot plot, I comma I. Plot, pt dot plot. The function that we just defined. No, pt dot plot, plot. No, plot. Peter, P for Peter, LOT. Yeah, all right. So that's the function that we just defined, isn't it? Yeah. So open parentheses. You're going to pass it the screen, SCR, my screen. No, it's my screen. Our variable is now called my screen. Right. And then you're going to say I comma I. All right. And then put a semicolon at the end. And you can also get rid of the curly braces because, that's only one for the for statement. There's only one line, essentially. And I think, oh, you actually want to put it on the same line. It looks much better on the next line, but yeah. All right. And then get rid of, oh, yeah. Okay. I think that is good enough. You don't need a blank line after that on line 130. And I think it should go, right? This should go and print. If it doesn't go, it's got a bug, and chances are we may have run out of time. We may have to fix it. Yeah, unfortunately, right? But the goal here, we didn't get to the place where we wanted to. And ideally, even though we can do it on Thursday, ideally, someone would do what I described. Essentially, we've got to the place where we've got the plot function going, which is most important. Okay. So we know that given a rectangular grid, we can plot at 0, 0, well, basically x, y, right? And we've tested it by doing that. Now we want to ask the user for a horizontal velocity and a vertical velocity and calculate the positions and actually do a parabola or any kind of graph like Richard was talking about before, right? A graph for how to plot points for a line, or how to plot points for a parabola. All those things are open season game for you guys to work on and talk about in the forums before Thursday. If not, we'll do it on Thursday in class, but ideally before then. Okay, what is this? Unexpected, unqualified. No, something's, why is it, something's funny here. Can you increase the, why is it, how come it's printing much wider than before? Hey, something is funky here. Why is it not printing a blank line? Something is weird. It's not the same code that Mark shared. You did pick up the same thing, yeah? Oh, I see. You think it was too big? Oh, I see. Hey, something is wrong. Okay. Why is it just advancing horizontally and something is can everybody get on the same page, just in case we get to the end of class and we're not able to debug this in class here? All right. When Richard shares this in the forum saying, hey, this is what we tried to do, right? Richard has decided we're going to call it a day. That's fine. You can share it. But what we tried to do when Richard shares this saying, hey, this is what we try to do. We want to get that dot moving diagonally, right? Like, we want to go diagonally on the screen like this. For following the line x equals y. Okay, that's what we try to do. Plot I comma I, but instead it's just plotting I comma 0 or something like that. So there's a bug in the plot method. Got to work it out. Again, all of these count for extra fun and extra credit at the end of the day. So please go ahead and before Thursday, say, hey, Richard will share it, and then that shouldn't be the end of the story. Someone should pick up Richard's code and say, hey, I picked up Richard's code, and then I fixed the bug that was, we were running into at the end of class, where it was just printing horizontally. We had to change some numbers here and make sure the conditions and the comparisons were right. Now we can see it going horizontally, right? Now diagonally from here, like along the hypotenuse to the other side, right? So have that going. That is your test of the plot working correctly. Now, if your plot is working correctly, you can use that plot of parabola. And you use a mathematical equation if you want, of any kind. You don't have to have user input, right? So I've got the screen. Now I want to plot the curve y equals x squared. Just calculate x and y and plot it. It should work, right? Without using the sleep and everything. So all of that should be possible. Is that okay? That is where we're going. hopefully that should be done before Thursday. Okay, if you have any questions, you should ask. There's a textbook, there's lots of resources. Look at the CS Club website. They have pointers to these notes, and all these things are beautifully laid out. Great deal of resources to help all of you, right? If you get stuck. Important thing is, when you get stuck and frustrated, stop yourself before you get angry, okay? And say, you know what, I'm just going to take a break. And the greatest mistake that many students do is not stopping in good time. Okay, well, you need to know when to take a break. Lots of students in life too, right? We just need to know when to take a break. And people get angry because they don't know when to take a break, and that, you know, they just got to live through it and learn it bit by bit. But in programming, certainly, the spot at which you hit frustration taking its toll on you, right? Frustration doesn't mind, okay, you're going to face it a lot in questing, but you got to keep looking, you know, meta looking, right, at yourself when you're solving a difficult problem, because then you'd be able to monitor your mental state at the same time and say, well, you know, it's frustrating, it's disappointing. Now it's starting to get, you know, more than frustrating. Then you just say, I'm going to take a break. Take a break, okay? Someone has to remind you. I usually am the person, right, most of the time, who says, you know, every time someone, you know, in the forum says, you know, it's getting to me, I'm the one who's pipes. You know, some of the students do that too, but you have to remind each other to basically just say, you know, step back and cool down. Okay, everybody will find the answer if they just keep looking. Okay, and if I just give you the answer, you know, you'll just curse me for it at the end of the day. So I'll just save, you know, at the you know, cost of being lazy, I'll just save the, you know, savoring of the final result, you know, unraveling of the knot to you, right? So just keep at it, but don't give up. You know, take breaks, but don't give up, and you will actually find the answer. Right at the end of the class, you know, by the time you solve quest 9, which usually is the most frustrating one for lots of students because of pointers and dangling and, you know, everywhere, you got to be really, really careful what you're doing there, because you'll run into lots of edge cases and problems. But once you do that, you will actually feel super duper happy and comfortable and ready to face CS2B. Okay, and all of these things, you know, pointer wrangling and these things, and memory and free and constructors and destructors and all these fancy methods, they may look daunting and overwhelming in the beginning. But, you know, after a while in CS2B, they'll all become transparent like water to a fish, right? You just be swimming in it, you won't even know that it's there. You're just taking things and putting in there because you're not looking at the pieces anymore. You're just looking at the final solution. And in order to assemble that, your hands are just going and grabbing all these tools. You don't even know what you're grabbing, but you're just getting all the things and putting into place. But because your mind is busy calculating with these tools in place, what is the best runtime I can get? What is the, you know, least amount of resources I can use to get this done? Right? And this is why it's actually super duper important, even in the age of AI and other things, writing code for you, other things, using resources. Even though the resources are plentiful and useful all over the place, it takes a certain kind of disciplined building, right? I won't even say programming, because, you know, programming in the traditional way is going to be history, right? But, you know, people will still be building with advanced resources and agents and so on and so forth. Just because someone can do this job for you inefficiently, you shouldn't use an inefficient solution in your master solution. Yeah. So that kind of thinking only comes with tedious programming. So it is better to just, you know, tread the, you know, grind it out here as a student, so that you can get the mindset to use the resources that you have, infinite resources, in as efficient and wise way as possible. Because you can burn a lot of rubber and still, you know, cover the same amount of road. You know, so you'll be able to find that sweet spot. So that is why C++ is fantastic as a good first language to learn. After that, you know, regardless of what language you use, you'll actually be efficiency minded. That is the most important thing for a program. All right, so that's all I have to say. Thank you all for sticking around and past the end of class. Thank you, Caitlin and Josh, for, you know, attending and having my back all the time, and all of you guys. In today's session, live coding was absolutely fantastic. Like, I was listening through, and Lily did a great job, and, you know, Mark typing things in, and everybody chiming in. Richard, great. I actually like to see more of that happen every single class. Okay, more of this happen with more participation from lots and lots of students, because at the end of the day, you know, I'm only here for a little time, even in your life, right? So just a comet just comes and goes, or something like that, right? But you guys are helping each other. You can just do that, you know, do startups together, do projects together, research projects together, and you can build a lot more excitement. professors will just come and go and show you what you can do, and that's all, right? But you guys can just stick around like this. Communal learning, communal building can actually do a lot more because everybody's truly committed and having fun like you guys were doing today. All right. So next on Thursday, I look forward to hearing more of the same. We're going to build out all of this we've done today, the code that Richard has shared with the bug fix, and hopefully, more, and then we'll take that and complete the game, essentially, asking a question and doing this and setting a target column. That's all that's remaining, okay? At the end of the, on Thursday, we should have the game running. And maybe also, do, if necessary, a slight extension saying we have an array of objects. Well, it's not a big deal. You can do that yourself. You're going to do that in quest number 6 or 7, array of objects. So maybe we won't do that in class. Right? Anything else that you have that is confusing, is just feel free to ask. Okay, ask in the forums, ask during next class, ask Josh, ask Caitlin, and so on. We're all there to help you. The important thing is just always make sure that you knock off these things in time, because once they pile up, it's a big mess. Then you can't solve something at the last minute and also hope to learn from it. Okay, you just get past it, you won't be able to learn it. So try and do everything in good time, and we'll be there right behind you to help. Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. So have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you on Thursday. Was this class useful? Give me a thumbs up if you think so. And I hope to see all of you and more on Thursday, right? On Thursday's class. And we'll take this and try to complete this into a proper, cool little game. All right. See you guys later. Bye. Thank you, Richard.
Hi, Professor. I have a question.
Yeah, sure, Mark.
Oh yeah, I was wondering, like, is there extra credit if you completed all the blue quests?
Yeah, don't worry. You're doing great, Mark. Just keep doing what you're doing. A volunteer class whenever you're able to. You're done with all the quests, right? You're just trying to dog everything now.
Yesterday, I think the day before yesterday, I think I went back to quest 5, and
Yeah,
also
yeah.
I think I got like,
you completed all the quests. You're not trying to get full points and everything. Yes.
I already got like 191. I think that's the cap.
Oh, you
right?
got 191. Oh, I thought you were stuck on 29 or so. 30.
Yeah. I resolved that. I just read it. I read it one more time.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right. So you got the last one.
So
All
I could work on extra credit right now, right?
You don't have to worry about much, but yeah, certainly if you want, you can work on extra credit, or you can help out more in class. You don't have to worry about grade, okay? As long as you don't, suddenly disappear from class.
I might do that on Thursday, because Thursday I have my graduation, my high school graduation.
What I mean is, gone AWOL, and I'm done with this class. I'm not, part of this anymore. Not like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay. So I think you're doing great. And if you're really interested in doing some, something for extra credit, we'll think about something on Thursday. Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't need extra credit. Okay. If you're just doing what you're doing and plus keeping up your formal participation, you're good. You can be assured of a good grade.
Yeah, I was trying to do that because I didn't actually take the Python class, but I done it before. And I think I implemented all the data types and all the different algorithms just now I've learned in school. So like I'm thinking about doing that in C++.
Great.
It's more like Quest 9. It's
Yeah.
also CS2B stuff, but I don't think I will take that in summer though, unfortunately.
It's okay. I think I'm certainly offering it in the fall. Am I offering in fall? Something like that. Okay. And then even if I'm not offering CS2C, eventually when you're ready to take that, you can just do the quests. I won't turn off questing for at least a quarter after I'm retired. So.
Sounds great. Then bye.
All right. See you later. Bye.